Angie Andrews Eyesight, and I am in Boston. I'm on my houseboat, and I'm trying to relax. I had a week in Natick, Massachusetts, and we were studying a different modality of therapy called IFS. And I began this journey last year when I moved to Atlanta and got acquainted with other therapists who were looking to go into the deeper emotion and connection with other people so that they can actually heal and become whole after an encounter with some kind of trauma. And the beautiful thing about this was I was very closed off when I started. A lot of spiritual guru stuff that kind of creeped me out. A lot of the things that church folk used to say, don't do that. And I generally rebel against any kind of authority that's going to shame people anyway. So that curiosity was enough to have me keep coming back. But something very powerful shifted into my paradigm, and I did a 180 as I came back to Boston here in September and looked at people from a view that I had never even touched the capacity in and of myself before. And so, I moved down to the South for ministry, and, one time the comment was made to me, like, why do you always say that you love me? And I just didn't understand how this person was offended, that I was like, well, because I feel love. I feel like this great connection because we're, helping other people. But oftentimes I have sought many ministries. I've been credentialed in over a dozen, trying to find a place where I could belong, because essentially I had so much angst in my own heart from the own traumas that I suffered as a child. And I always thought that there should be something that can couple like the spirit world and understanding angels and demons, and yet then bridging the gap between Christianity and counseling. And this modality did that because I sensed the reason why somebody would be aggravated with my saying that I love them would be because they didn't have the capacity in and of themselves to receive it. But even deeper than that, it was, I did not know what true love was until you can face somebody when they're in a moment of raw exposure and they're laying their heart bare in front of you. I don't know that it's really fair to say that you love them. And today's talk is always like, oh my gosh, I love that. I love that dress. I love that candy. I love you. And I hear it all the time. And it's a beautiful thing. And love is great. It's to be championed. And God is love. But in this setting, all of these different spiritual beings brought their perception of A, who God was, and B, what love was. And all together as a whole, it was very different than what I had ever given the definition of love for. And it makes sense to me that now I realize that love couldn't be received because I fully wasn't even giving the love that I could truly tap into in the past. And moving forward in my life, I'm trying to do intentions and to be balanced, because it's a holistic embarkment, a new journey that I want to take. And it just is perfect for me that I'm 44, and that's my favorite number besides 33. But it's suddenly working, it's suddenly clicking, and that's because of stalking Christ with every kind of passion that's been inside of me, and finding it among people who don't even necessarily believe that Christ is their Savior. It wasn't necessary. And I could look at all of these people and see something in them that was so absolutely deep that nothing I could give would be enough to show them the gratitude that I have just by getting to know them. And that kind of love, my friends, it's very rare. It's very rare. And I would encourage you, as I'm speaking to myself, to go after the deep, seek to be known. And for those people that can't let you in, you don't have to keep knocking on that door. You get to say, that's okay. I love you in ways that maybe you can't get. Like my cab driver, like, dude, I know you're ripping me off by $60, but that's on you. I'm going to give it to you anyway, because I know that you think you're trying to, guilt me. But after I've done all this intense work, no, I'm realizing that freedom is in loving and just moving on. And once you get that revelation, you can't go back. Just for the rest of this year, think about who you could love deeper, and I guarantee it's going to begin with yourself. And once that happens, everybody else thereafter is a piece of cake.